Good morning everyone. Filter free today. Yay, filter free Friday. Oh, maybe I'll make that a thing. I am coming on a bit later today because there were so many things that popped up last minute this morning. And I wanted to really, with this topic, I really wanted to give it my attention. So, the topic for this morning is about trust. And sometimes when we've been in a relationship and we've put ourselves out there and we've really given it our all and it doesn't work out, sometimes there's a violation of trust there and we feel like it's going to be hard to trust someone again, or to let someone back in the same way because we're so scared of the pain. And the way that us humans are designed is that we are designed to avoid pain. That's why we have like the different memory centers, and the reptilian brain is to try and avoid being in pain again. But when you have this conflict of trying to avoid being in pain, and as well as trying to find a partner or a mate, then we find that there's some sort of a cognitive dissonance. And there's going to be different little things that we, as our spectacular selves are, we're going to have different habits and behaviors that come up to try and block one or the other. And normally it'll look something along the lines of moving towards dating, but with a lot of different walls up, being a lot more cautious. And while there might be a bad side to that, there's actually also a good side to it. So this means that we also have an opportunity to learn through the things that we go through, to use it for future reference. But the other side of that is that it makes it a lot harder to open up and to trust again. But I would actually suggest, if you are struggling with the idea of trusting someone again, and falling in love again, and the fear of being hurt and that sort of thing, if your trust was violated in the past, this has been a huge one for me as well. I have found that if you're struggling with trusting someone else, it's usually because you're scared to trust yourself. And what that comes from is from you honestly believing that you made a right choice and it didn't follow through, and you're like, well, hang on, how am I going to know if I've made the right choice again? And sometimes you don't. But something that I have come to the realization of is it's all learning. There's no right or wrong or good or bad or one person or anything like that. It's a choice that you make, and every choice has consequences, and you actually can't avoid pain. Pain is unavoidable. There are different lessons that you can learn and then not have to relearn, for sure. But usually when it comes to trust and being scared of trusting again, it's usually because there's an element of distrust that we have with ourselves. And we need to work on that before we actually work on someone else. And when you realize that you can trust yourself, when you realize that you're strong enough to be able to go through these different pains, you realize that you're strong enough to grow, you will always be there to catch yourself. When you really start to tune into your own intuition and that little inner voice, your higher self, whatever you want to call it, you start to really trust yourself on a whole different level. And I think one of the greatest things that I've ever discovered is that I will always be here for myself. I will always catch myself. I'll always love myself. So that way I feel safe coming into any new relationship, because I know at the core that I will always be here for myself. And that has made dating so much easier. And it's meant that I can walk away very easily from someone who is not for me. And I can also open up, and it has been hard to open up. It's not an easy thing, but I've also been able to open up to other people, who has ultimately led me to who I'm with now, which is a beautiful, beautiful process. So maybe if you're struggling with some trust, start doing some journaling. And with journaling, usually you ask yourself questions. Where is this distrust coming from? What was the earliest time I can remember this feeling of distrust being there? And ask yourself, is this a me thing? Is it me who is struggling to trust myself? And then ask yourself if usually whenever there's a belief or a new habit, it's because we've made something mean something along the way. So one of those experiences where you went through the distrust, really dissect it and go, okay, well, what did I make that mean? And if I made that mean that I can't trust people or I can't trust men or something like that, is there any evidence that that might not be true? Is it always the case or is it not always the case? And if it's not always the case, you actually have a possibility there of creating a new belief. I hope this has helped. If you have any other questions, please let me know. I hope you have an amazing weekend ahead and happy swiping.